Hello, Newsmax Daily podcast family. Kay Hill here on this brisk April 28th morning. Tony Marino will be back later this week from his very special assignment, and I know you all miss him a lot. It's a Monday, but we're ignoring that and bringing the weekend back into this new week with some excellent segments from Newsmax. Obviously they're from Newsmax. First up, we have a very special interview with GOP gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton, who sat down with Sunday Report's John Glasgow to talk about turning the Golden State red, but also gold again. If you've been there, you get that joke.
It's the man trying to turn the Golden State red, Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton, and he joins me right now. So let's bring him on. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. You were running in California. You got Gavin Newsom there right now, and he has not been very well liked in that state. What makes you a good candidate here to become the next governor of California?
Well, John, it's wonderful to be with you this morning. I think the thing that people have to really imagine is the sense in California that after 15 long years of this one-party rule, there's a sense that, well, this is just the way it is, and it's always going to be like this. And I'm here to say, no, it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to be a state where we have the highest rate of poverty in America, and 1/3 of people here in California can't meet their basic needs for food and shelter and housing and gas and electricity, where the typical house price is nearly $1 million, where under half of the kids in the public schools meet state standards in English, and for math it's a third. It doesn't have to be like this. We can change. We can be better. And that's what I'm here to do, to give that energy and that optimism and that clarity on policy so we can turn things around, because everyone knows it's time for change in California. We just need a candidate of change who really delivers that message in a powerful way. And that's my plan in this campaign.
Let me ask you this. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the last Republican governor there. What do you think has changed since his time in office to now Gavin Newsom? What's changed and why is it so bad now?
Well, what you've had with this one-party rule from the Democrats is a terrible combination of really bad ideas, ideological extremism on everything from climate change and the climate extremism that has pushed up costs for everything, the gender extremism, everything, the unions running everything. That's why the schools are so bad, the teacher unions completely controlling everything there. So you've had a combination of really bad ideas, but also incredibly incompetent governance. And you saw that come together, actually, with the Los Angeles wildfires, where one of the reasons that those fires were so bad was because of the climate extremism that meant for years you hadn't cleared the brush and managed those areas properly, but also the total incompetence from leadership, from Gavin Newsom down, Karen Bass, and so on. And I think it's that combination of ideology and incompetence that has caused the problems.
And you got Gavin Newsom right now. I mean, it's the secret everybody knows. He wants to run for president. So he's out there. He's got this podcast now where he's trying to relate to conservatives somehow. This guy is supposed to be running the state of California, yet he's spending more time trying to run a podcast. Are his priorities just not in order?
Well, 100%. I mean, it's a total joke. As you say, he goes on these podcasts and he tries to kind of pander to the people, whether he's on their podcast or they're on his. For example, with Charlie Kirk, he said, "Oh, yes, I agree with you, Charlie. It is," this is the quote, "deeply unfair for biological men to compete in girls' sports." Just a couple of weeks after he said that, he had an opportunity to actually do something about it because he has an actual job as the actual governor. There was legislation in the state legislature to deal with the problem that he just said was deeply unfair.
Right.
What did he do? Absolutely nothing. And that's the problem. We've got a governor who is just not in charge of dealing with the actual problems that people have because he's not interested in that. And that's why we've got to get back to common sense, positive, practical policies. And that's really the heart of my campaign. It's not exactly partisan because everyone can see we've got to cut taxes for working people, get rid of the insane bureaucracy that makes it impossible to build a home, run a business, do anything in California, real standards of academic performance in our schools. Those are practical things that everyone can agree about.
How difficult? I mean, there are a lot of liberals that live in California. How difficult do you think it is going to be to flip that state? Maybe not for a presidential election, but to flip it for a governor's race.
So, John, you're right. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but there are encouraging signs. One of the reasons that I launched my campaign this week in Huntington Beach in Orange County is that city, just over 4 years ago, was run by Democrats 6-1. Today, it's 7-0 Republican-led, and in the last 2 weeks, it was rated the best-run city in California. In the elections last November, President Trump got more votes in California than any Republican candidate for a generation. 10 counties flipped from blue to red. So the signs are there that change is coming.
Did you guys notice anything funny about Steve's accent? Sounds a little bit like me. See, this is the thing, guys. Immigrants get a really bad rap because of the worst among us, who are, you know, at this point, let's be honest, like, it's illegal immigrants. Like, you cannot lump legal and illegal immigrants into the same bucket. You know, we're talking about the worst among us are the ones who come here and they do crime, they don't pay their taxes, and they honestly don't respect how lucky they are that America exists in the first place. You know, this is truly the greatest country in the world, and every single legal immigrant I know respects that. You know, heck, I lived in California. It turned me from being a multi-color haired, secular hippie lib to a full-fledged conservative Christian. My point is, go and be nice to your local legal alien today, wonderful listeners, because we love this country like our lives depend on it. Because really, they do. There is nowhere else in the world. There is nowhere else in the world left. It's just America, guys. And seeing what happened to California firsthand under Democrat leadership, I don't think a lot of people realize how close we came to losing everything. We're going to head over to Lidia Curanaj, who now, well, we're going to hear her report on why so many liberals think they're above the law. And trust me, California, poster child for that.
Make no mistake, all of these judges trying to stop President Trump from keeping his promise to the American people is simply part of the blueprint of the corrupt Democrat machine. The Biden administration, it purposely aided, abetted, and incentivized an invasion of millions of people for the sole purpose of ensuring that Democrats would never lose another election again. This week alone, judges across the country ruled against President Trump in at least 11 different lawsuits. These judges, they continue to stand in the way of Trump's efforts to deport violent, illegal alien criminals. Think about this. Just think about it. The new Democratic cause is protecting the rights of killers and rapists who invaded this country. And it's all hidden under the guise of humanity. Democrats, they weren't building a nation when they allowed all of these tens of millions of people in and not vetting them, right? They are engineering a permanent majority. The Democrat plan, it's in full swing. Overwhelm the courts and then delay justice for years. So by the time anyone gets a hearing, you know, they didn't care about vetting them when they came in, but oh, now everybody needs due process when they go out. These people, they already will be card-carrying voters. And then the ultimate plan, the electoral map, will be redefined. All of this is weaponized compassion in the name of equity. But we are a nation of laws that must be followed. Otherwise, all of this manufactured chaos, it will continue. These radicals who are fundamentally, they hate America. They truly believe that the end justifies the means. They know they are basically tearing up the Constitution with everything they do, right? And no one is immune from this malignant ideology. Not even judges, not even judges. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, she was arrested by the FBI on Friday for allegedly helping a violent illegal alien avoid ICE agents by concealing his court appearance on the public docket. And then she allegedly guided him out of a secret exit door where then he ran from immigration officials, but thank God he was caught. Also a New Mexico judge was also arrested. He's accused of harboring a known Tren de Aragua gang member in his own home. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Judges, they're supposed to be the arbiters of right and wrong, right? I mean, Lady Justice's blindfold. It's supposed to symbolize impartiality. But it seems that all of these judges, all they care about is ruling against President Trump. And rather than everyone, Democrats, Republicans, whoever you are, condemn what these judges have done, here's what Democrats and here's what the media is saying about their arrests.
Dramatic escalation in the Trump administration's conflict with judges.
The FBI director saying on social media that they have taken the extraordinary step to arrest a judge.
This is not just an aggressive, but probably an over-aggressive move by the Bureau.
Hannah Dugan is not just a judge, she's an American citizen. So now we are starting to arrest American citizens.
The Trump administration's FBI, headed by Kash Patel, arrested a Wisconsin judge for simply standing up for the rights of immigrants. This is without any historical precedent and truly terrifying.
You know what's terrifying? The fact that they think we're this stupid. Democrats, they weaponized the judicial system against President Trump for years. They tried to put him behind bars for life on ridiculous, trumped-up charges over and over again, and they failed, thank God. A judge even convicted Trump of a felony when there was no victim. Under the Biden regime, Democrats also justified arresting monks, remember this scene? And little old ladies outside of abortion clinics for praying. They tried to imprison them for years, too, and President Trump pardoned them. Yet Democrats now want to defend these arrested judges. Wasn't this the Democrat battle cry?
No person is above the law, not even the President of the United States, not even a former President of the United States.
Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
No one, my friend, is above the law.
And in this nation, not even the president is above the law.
No person is above the law in this country. I can't say it anymore.
No one is above the law.
Apparently, Democrats are the only ones allowed to be above the law, folks.
Lydia's underrated or like underspoken of for how unique her guests are. She had a fascinating guest this weekend on The Count. Check out this segment that, again, sort of continues with the theme today.
Sam Antar. Sam, so I follow you on Twitter. You're a forensic accountant. You told me just before during the break that you say you're a convicted felon. You've had your own issues with the law, right?
Yes, and I learned both sides of the law.
Exactly.
I learned every trick of the book from when I was a criminal, and I learned every trick in the book after I stopped being a criminal.
So I was following you on X, on Twitter, and I saw you started posting about Letitia James and all these mortgage fraud allegations and all of the documents that you're pulling up. This is what any other person could get. When you started peeling back the onion and realizing, oh my goodness, I can't believe that our Attorney General is doing exactly what she accused President Trump of doing and tried to put him behind bars for doing, that she's guilty of it as well. What was going through your mind, and how did it all start?
Well, first of all, I didn't target her.
I know, yeah.
I've been writing about New York City finances and politicians for quite a while, and I ventured onto her. She was just another name on the list. But what I saw was really magnifying red flags I didn't see anywhere else, and that made me look into her deeply. She was spending exorbitantly on her campaigns. She even used private jets on the government's dime. That overlapped periods when she was campaign events. And of course, we have the issues of her financial disclosures to New York State and her mortgage situation. But one thing about Abbe Lowell, she should get a better lawyer. He's really not that bright. I read his letter to the State Department. It was full of innuendo, and let's put it this way: if Abbe Lowell was defending me, I wouldn't be here. I'd still be in prison. 35 years later.
Oh, wow. Tish James, of course, she responded to the allegation. She's saying that she's basically being targeted by President Trump, that this is all part of a revenge plot. Let's take a listen to what she said here.
Let me just say to all New Yorkers and to all Americans, the allegations are baseless. The allegations are nothing more than a revenge tour.
It seems to be based on some social media posts that I know were made by partisan political actors.
I'm a registered Democrat. I'm not a partisan political actor. You know, Errol Lewis should know better. I've met him. I actually like him. I've seen him at events where I've demonstrated with the Democrats at City Hall, and this is ridiculous. The reality is partisan political actors did not make Letitia James sign documents that were false over a period of 40 years. Her lawyer says, well, the Trump administration is cherry picking. Well, guess what? You don't have to cherry pick to find a false document that she signed. The only document that I found that was not false was one mortgage on one property, but she should have also disclosed it in her financial disclosures to New York State. This is a slam dunk case, and she can try to wiggle out of it baseless and this and that, this and that. Listen. The documents speak for themselves. The evidence is there.
Right. One of the residences, she said, was her primary residence, so she could get a lower mortgage rate. Reporters have been knocking at the door. The neighbors have never seen her there. I mean, she has been caught red-handed, dead to rights. What do you think about how hypocritical she is? She was out there. She campaigned on getting Trump, saying no one is above the law. She is the top lawyer of New York State. She's not above the law either.
Well, when you're doing crime, you try not to be hypocritical. You try to keep a low profile. Let's put it this way. She'd be a reject for the Crazy Eddie fraud.
Your prediction, does Big Tish end up in a big orange jumpsuit?
I can't predict the future, but I believe that she will get indicted, and I believe that she will end up getting convicted. Will she end up in jail? I don't know.
Governor Hochul, does she go down with her?
Governor Hochul will probably look to replace Tish James to distance herself from this calamity.
Andrew Cuomo, is he the next mayor of New York City?
Who knows?
Who will you be looking into next?
Wherever my research leads me.
Governor Hochul?
I've looked into Governor Hochul. She spends a lot of money on private jets.
Very interesting. Where can people follow you on X?
Sam Antar. SAMANTAR.
A lot of great information there. That's how I first found you, because I'm a lifelong New Yorker, and I just...
Same here.
It's fantastic what you've uncovered, and you're just a regular guy. It's just incredible what you've
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you
God
so much for
bless
what
you.
you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, so for anyone wondering, the theme today was people who love America and the people who don't, and the crazy things they think they can get away with. Anyway, we're going to switch things back now to our good side. America, CEO of Camping World, who has one of the best names I've ever heard in my life, Marcus Lemonis. Oh, that rolls. Can you imagine writing that in cursive? Anyway, CEO of Camping World, Marcus Lemonis, joined Tom Basile on America Right Now to talk about what it means to be a great American, a true patriot.
It's time now for our Patriot of the Week, where we celebrate those who exemplify the spirit of this great nation, and sometimes in the face of really great challenges. And today we salute Marcus Lemonis. Now, Mr. Lemonis has been flying his enormous American flags outside his Camping World stores nationwide for at least 2 decades. Then suddenly, the lawsuits started rolling in. Now he's facing challenges from municipalities in Tennessee and North Carolina, but he refuses to take them down. For more on this, joining me now, the CEO of Camping World, Marcus Lemonis. Good to see you. I've been so excited to talk to you because I give you so much credit for what you're doing. It is really amazing. I live in Tennessee. I've seen these flags in person. I've seen them for years. They're big. They're beautiful. Why are you getting attacked over this?
I think ultimately you have local ordinances that want to control the marketplace, and you think about what the current administration thinks about eliminating regulations in business, and I think the left gets a little too excited thinking that when we say we want to lessen regulations, we're talking about things that protect customers. What we're really trying to do is just give people the freedom to do what they want to do within the compliance of the law. And this whole flag nonsense, quite frankly, is baffling to me because we use the FAA as our regulator. If the FAA tells us no, or they tell us it needs to be lower or smaller, we comply with that. Outside of that, it's the subjective piece. And, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years, as you mentioned, and I keep saying it to people. It's not coming down, no matter what.
Yeah, it's just amazing. How big are these flags, by the way, Marcus?
So the flagpoles are 130 feet, and they're universally the same across the country. And the flag itself is 40 by 80. It's 3,200 square feet. And yes, it is big. And yes, it does cost over $130,000 to put up.
Wow.
But it really is representative of me, of my love letter, my gift back to the people that have served this country, who have defended this country, to allow an immigrant like me to come here and to have a job and to employ 14,000 people.
Marcus, are you getting any support from the elected officials? This has impacted one of your locations down in Greenville, but the local communities, the local elected officials, how are they coming down on this?
I think people are a little conflicted right now. We know that we're getting support from the administration. I have many friends in the Trump administration who support it. There are state senators and congressmen and U.S. senators that are encouraging us to do this. And my response to everybody is, if this is such a great thing, then let's pass a national bill that allows the flags, as long as they're safe, as long as they comply with the FAA, as long as they're done so in a way that doesn't put people in harm's way. Let's pass a national bill that allows people to display the U.S. flag.
Yeah.
This isn't an opportunity to exploit it, to put up, my favorite sports team.
Yeah, no, it's such a great idea. Now, a lot of folks may not know this, but you were born in Beirut. You legally immigrated to the United States, and you've managed to live the American dream.
Yeah,
Talk to me about what does the flag mean to you after this journey that you've been on personally here in the United States?
I think it's tough for me. I was dropped off on the doorstep of an orphanage when I was a small child. I was adopted by an amazing family in Miami, my mom and dad. That's how I refer to them. I have no brothers and sisters. Now both my parents are gone. And as a little child, my family had an automobile dealership, and we flew a flag. It was the largest flag in Miami. It was not this big. And I used to tell my grandfather, my adopted grandfather, as a small child, I'm going to own a business one day. My business is going to be bigger than yours, and my flag is going to be bigger. And so I've been really doing this because as an immigrant to this country who was given a chance to go through the proper process. And I have pictures in my bow tie where I'm getting my, my naturalization papers and taking the test. It's a proud moment for me. And I want to leave my legacy on a country that gave me so much. And the flag is my way of saying thank you.
Marcus, last question for you. What's your message to your fellow Americans who might be concerned about showing their patriotism because they're afraid, they've been made to sort of feel afraid that they're going to trigger somebody on the left and face some backlash?
I think that as long as you're doing anything that you do with respect, which we do, and you do, and everybody else does, that a demonstration of what I believe in doesn't have to be so, doesn't have to create such conflict. My message to everybody is you should do what you believe in. You should be kind to others. You should run your business. You should employ people and be good to customers and do the things that are necessary to be a good citizen, but you also have to be a good patriot.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed your Monday, April 28th installment of the Newsmax Daily podcast. I'm your fill-in host, Kay Hill. Tony will be back with you all soon. And until we speak again, have a wonderful day and God bless.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.